Up until the age of about 20, 25, you're supposed to be learning. You don't have any pressure. You're just going to learn, consume, educate yourself. Phase 2, work. Retiring around the age of 60, 65. Then we're told we can retire and our hard work pays off. Sip pina coladas on the beach. These three phases are ingrained into every single one of us subconsciously. This is the script you're running. At some level, your beliefs might be like, oh, well, I'm 18 now, just gotta make it to college, and then I can kind of be an adult and have fun. This is the adulting right here. When you're working, you're always looking forward to the next thing, which is, oh, I'm sucking it up and grinding because I got to get to the good old days where I can just golf in Scottsdale and sip Mai Tais and wear short sleeve, funky button-ups and have a mustache, I guess. I actually don't think objectively there's anything wrong with this if you love it. If you're truly living your calling and your purpose right here in these decades, the majority of your life right here, that's fine. More power to you. This video is not saying, hey, you're running out of time. You're 1 foot in the grave. You better get to it. But I am concerned, and here's why. All things considered, life expectancy for some people, it's not that. It's probably right here. It's like 77. I looked it up before this video. Most people don't retire around the age of 60. They actually work longer, and they probably retire somewhere around here, 65, 67, if you look it up. A lot of people are even working into their 70s and 80s because they can't afford it. They don't have enough money saved up, whatever. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I plan on working till I'm 70, 80 years old because I love what I do. What I'm doing right now. YouTube still be around when I'm 70, who knows? But I hope to be making some kind of videos, some kind of art, some kind of content. Where it gets really scary is that if you look at the statistics, and I'll post some screenshots of where I got this, up to 85% of Americans, when surveyed, say they don't like their job. They hate it. It's not fulfilling them. It's not what they thought they were going to be doing at the age of 20 when now they're 50 years old. So look at the numbers. Here's why that's concerning. Most people are spending a majority of their life doing something they don't actually love. And this creeps up, gets longer and longer and longer. And you want more. You want to become that 2.0 version of yourself, that actualized version, that full potential that you got within you. If that dream's not actualized, if you're not at your full potential of living that truth, there's no way we're going to be in a high vibe, because a part of us is going to be like, damn, I should have done it. I should have done that. For me, this was playing drums. If you know my story, there was a part of me who wanted to play to 30,000 people. I had this dream up until the age of like 20 and it never happened. Had a bunch of failed bands, but I still had that dream alive. Got into this phase right here, went to college, kind of quit on it, and then I recommitted. Within 6 months, I got a tweet that a band saw some of my old videos, and now it's what I'm doing. I'm touring in a band, playing to 30,000 people, sold out shows and whatnot, BC, before COVID. What's my point? Is that had I not done that, I would have had this entire 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years wondering what if. I'd have gotten to the end, I would have looked back on my life and I would have been like, dang, I should have done it. What if I had just done that? One of the top regrets, if you look up the 5 regrets of the dying, this is Bonnie Ware. She's an Australian nurse. She surveyed thousands of people on their deathbed. Hey, what do you regret? And she distilled them down into 5 things. One was, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. So this phase right here where people are hustling and grinding and just suck it up, life's a bitch, then you die, right? Going to the job I don't really like and my passion, but screw it, gotta put food on the table and pay the bills. They actually look back and they say, I wish I didn't work that hard. And here's the thing they said. I wish I would have lived a life true to myself, not a life that others expected of me. You know what's scary here, and the second reason I'm showing you this? Because I think a lot of this right here is just coming down to a life that others expect of us. Which if you look at the movement, it's kind of on social media of extreme minimalism or van life, right? Or alternative ways of living, which I'm actually a huge fan of. I've lived in a van on tour and whatnot, and I would never choose to live in a van. That's miserable in my opinion. You're like taking a dump in the bucket that they probably don't show you, and you're showering with like a solar shower. It's not that cool, and it's freezing, and you're in a parking lot in Walmart. But I think the premise is really cool of living a life true to yourself, not one others expect of you. If this video does one thing, I want it to give you permission. Okay, permission. Permission that you don't need anyone's permission to walk away from something that's not working. If you want to pursue what you want to manifest deep down inside, Like if you die and you know that you had a script inside of you, or a painting that was supposed to come out, or an album that you were supposed to release, and you didn't do everything humanly possible to bring it out and make that happen, you get to the end there, whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? And I know it's so easy to blame people, family, circumstances. You have kids, you can blame them. You have an unsupportive partner, you can blame them. But at the end of the day, is it their fault? We got to take the ownership for making this happen and come alive for what you want to do. And if you're not willing to take the blame, if it worked out, you shouldn't even take the credit. Here's the thing that freaks me out too, because they always say, like, don't take life for granted. All these days, you never know how many you have, things like that. We hear it and we're just kind of like, yeah, you're right. When you have a death in the family, or you have friends that die or pass away or anything like that, it really makes you reevaluate things. I don't know about you, but in 2020, 2021, with the whole pandemic and everything, I'm not sure if it was just the news, if it was stories or what. It felt like everyone was dying. It was in your face every single day. Now, the shadow side of that would be doom and gloom. Why bother? Like, oh, we're going to die. I'm so depressed. Like, you could look at this chart and be like, damn, Clark, I'm 60 years old. Thanks for the depressing talk today. I'm 40 years old. I'm already here. What the heck? I might as well stick it out. I'm trapped now, Clark. Like, thanks for the depressing talk. That's one way you could interpret this. It's not that more and more people are dying. It's that the older you get, people grow up with you. And so they're getting older. So the people who were 30 when you were born, when you turned 30, now they're 60, right? And again, all things considered, like, it's not a guarantee we're going to live to 80. So more and more people, prospectively, as you get older, are just dying. And so I think, like, the older we get, that's a really big motivator in your face. Yeah, it sucks that people are no longer here and they move on and whatnot. That's terrible. But if these 2 years have taught me anything, it's that, yeah, like, it's in your face now. You're running out of time, and that should motivate you and get you off your ass today to go out there and make this the best that you can, to live a life true to yourself, not what others expect of you. I know how overwhelming that can be. I know how unsettling that can feel like. I remember when I was 30K in debt in my mom's basement before I did anything, and had any, what you would call success, monetarily, lifestyle-wise, YouTube-wise, almost grown to 1 million subscribers, all these things. It was freaking overwhelming. And I got coaches, and I bought so many programs to help me. Like, I'm not just some guy who's just like, oh, I'm self-made. I say I'm help-made. It wasn't just the Clark show. It was like, hey, let me find people who are further ahead. Let me learn from them. That it'll get worse before it gets better. So now you're like, what the hell is better than this, Clark? Like, show me the light at the end of the tunnel. When you look at why people don't use this, because we all have 24 hours in the day, don't you? Like you, me, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, it doesn't matter who, we all have the same 24 hours in the day. So what separates people? It's not a time thing, it's a commitment thing, it's a priority thing. Because I find too, lack of time is often lack of priorities. Two different things. Let's break it down though. Let's really break this down, because if you're like, oh my God, how am I gonna have time to do my passions, my dreams, make that manifestation happen, that business I always wanted to start a YouTube channel, whatever it is, every single one of these years, you have 3,240 hours to build that business, to start that YouTube channel, to write that book, to become that best 2.0 version of you, to manifest what you truly want. You get 3,200 hours, over that, 38% a year. Now, yeah, you might have kids, but here's the brutal truth. Even if that takes away 1,000 hours, like, are you going to use that as an excuse to not get after your dreams? Just being brutally honest. If you get to the end of your life and you haven't done what you knew you were going to do, and you're in a rocking chair, 80 years old, and you're sitting back, you're smoking that cigar, whose fault is that you didn't do it? Are you going to look at your kids and blame them? Is that really what you want to have happen? Also, too, don't you think you'd actually be more present and show up more if you were actualizing some of this time and you took some of that time away for you to build your dream, your passion project, that next manifestation that you want to do? Absolutely. I know if I don't film YouTube videos, I'm like a German Shepherd crammed up. And if I don't walk him all week, he's going to start chewing things. He's going to get into trouble. He's not fun to be around. That's literally me. If I'm not growing and working on my projects and my passions, and I'm sure you can relate to there too if you're a high achiever. Guys, that's literally almost 60 hours a week that's just for you. Use it. The question becomes, how are you going to use these 3,000 hours that you get a year? How are you going to use that? You know, they say 10,000 hours makes someone world class at something. Look at that. If you focused on one thing in 3 years, 4 years, you could be world class at it. You could use these 3K hours to reinvent yourself. It's never too late. You have 3,000 hours every single year. You're telling me it's too late? In 3 years, you can be world class at something. So I don't care if you're 50 and you feel like, oh, I can't use technology to build my business. All these young kids coming up with TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff. Like, just jump in and learn. I mean, you got 3,000 hours to learn. I feel like you could probably figure it out. Same thing the other way too. If you're on this side and you're like, well, I don't have any money to start a business. I'm pretty sure you got some elbow grease you could put in to get the money to make that happen. You're never stuck. You're never too young. You're never too old. You're never too far behind. It's never too late to reinvent yourself and level up. I firmly 1000% believe that. I mean, I've seen it with the clients I work with. Then we also have people 50, 60, some 70 years old who just want that extra edge, want to reinvent themselves. Of course, everything in between. Thanks so much for watching. Hope this video was insightful. If it was, let me know in the comments. See you in the next one. Believe in you, go crush it. Stop settling, start living. See ya.